Welcome to Raw Painting. In our Raw video series, we just paint miniatures from start to finish and very light editing, just so you can see the process and hear some of the discussions we have about miniature painting. In this series, we focus primarily on larger miniatures so that you can see more detail and get more insight into some of the miniature paintings that we do. But enough talking, let's jump into it. All right, let's keep painting on Blightfang, our white dragon. Last time we laid down a lot of base coat, but we did not cover everything. Started with an off-white, it's called Frost Giant White. And this is, again, an off-white. It is still a cool white because it's mixed with it's got some undertones of blues in it, so it's still a cool white, which is what we want. And we're just going to go through and finish putting on the base coat now, and then you'll see where we cover up those areas that we painted magenta with a thin, very thin coat on the wings. And again, this is just putting on a base coat, getting us coverage. For me, painting is all about layers. So lots of thin layers to build up into the final paint job. When we use thin layers, we don't have brush strokes, and color blending is a little bit easier. And of course, by using those nice thin coats, we actually have paint that dries fairly quick, which is key for painting multiple layers. It's thin, dry layers of paint. You can see up here where we had a little bit more opaque magenta than the last time we painted. Get that leading edge of the wing there. And after this coat, basically the goal is for the entire mini at this point to be base coated. So I know we took 2 videos to get there. Part of that is just because it's such a large miniature. This is Reaper Bones on a 3-inch base. For the base, I actually have started using these wood bases for the large minis. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, they're cheaper than the plastic bases. And secondly, when you are putting the terrain details on, your PVA adheres so much better to the wood rather than the slick plastic. the white dragon for my tabletop gaming, which is primarily Dungeons and Dragons. As we said in the last video, is the most bestial dragon. It's an evil dragon. They live in Arctic conditions. Just going through and making sure we've got good even painting, good coverage. Of course, this will most likely take a couple of these thin layers of white, which is why our raw video series on this miniature, we're going to change up a little bit. There will be some light editing. At times we will paint and not talk, so that you can just see the mini getting painted. And as I clean out my brush and prep some more paint on my palette, we're going to do that now. All right, here we're going to speed up the video, and this is the type of editing we'll do to just fill in some time, or shorten some time, I should say. But all we're doing is just reapplying that second coat of Frost Giant White, just to cover up all the details. The goal is for that second layer of white to push the magenta in and have it be more under the paint. That'll be a guide for when we go forward, just so we know where those fleshy bits that we want to convey the organicness of this creature is. But the remainder of this video is just going to be finishing out the white base coat so that we've got a good even base to start doing some details in the next video. If you're enjoying being able to see the Blightfang dragon being painted, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. And leave comments below on how we can better make this video series for your enjoyment. We hope maybe this is the type of content you watch while you're at work, or while you've got it just for background viewing and sound while you're painting or crafting or writing, anything that you're doing. I want to be able to talk about different techniques, paints, and miniatures, and the hobby in general. So leave a comment. Of course, give a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. If you're not happy with it, leave a thumbs down and let me know why in the comments. Love to get your opinions and feedback, just so we can make this series better in the long run. So you'll see as we continue to paint here, there's a moment where I have to set it down and reload up the palette. Just the size of this miniature takes so much paint. There's a lot of discussion on whether or not to use cheaper acrylic like craft paint when you're doing large miniatures like this. I don't recommend it just because of the amount of particles in craft paint versus miniature hobby paint. So while I don't recommend it, you definitely can use craft paint. It's definitely an economical way to paint large minis like this, especially if you're using them just for your tabletop use. It's not going to hurt anything, and you can still achieve good results, especially if you're doing thin layers, watering it down, and really paying attention to the way you're putting the paint on the mini, how it dries, making sure you don't have cracks or any pulls. And again, you're able to cover large miniatures like this at relatively modest price range. this one here. The next video, we'll actually start doing more of the details, putting in some of the veins in the wings, as well as putting in some of the shading for the dragon itself. So you'll see washes, as well as dark color veining in the wings, and then a touch of that organicness starting to paint in the details where we laid down that magenta base coat. The multiple layers will build up until we've got a really good depth from the scales, shading on the wings, and organic details. Hope you enjoyed. Catch us next time. Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed. Here's an additional video that we feel you may like. And be sure to hit the subscribe button as we continue to grow and develop. Our first milestone of 25 subscribers is going to lead to 5 of those subscribers drawn at random to receive a free t-shirt. Make sure to share and help us grow. Thank you, and be sure to comment below. Where will your adventures take you?